So Hollywood is sold out to China, and now movies have become so reliant on the country and its gatekeepers, the government, that movies and big-scale entertainment may never be the same again, and most think it will get much worse. So what happens next? See, back in 1991, major Hollywood studios generated approximately 30% of the box office revenue from international markets. Fast forward to 2016, and that percentage has doubled. As ticket sales plateaued in North America, film production companies seeking profits turned their attention to the global market. Now, the international success of a Hollywood film plays a pivotal role in compensating for bad domestic performances. And we can see more of those happening as time goes on. But particularly China has become a backbone for the global box office earnings. In 2018, China box office numbers surpassed American counterparts, marking the first time China claimed the title of the world's largest film market. And since, it's been a financial tug-of-war for the top spot. So naturally, filmmakers have to increasingly tailor their content to suit China's audience of over 1.4 billion people. The problem is, for movies to be released in China, they have a media administration directly controlled by the State Council to examine and censor content. This has led to the distribution of altered versions of films as we know, such as Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which omitted scenes featuring a Chinese pirate character. Chinese censors also edited Men in Black 3, removing content portraying China negatively. I mean, in the last couple of years, like 4 Marvel movies were banned from China, and no one knows the exact reason. So filmmakers now think ahead to secure favor from Chinese censors. They even often incorporate elements to appeal to Chinese audiences, altering characters, storylines, and even adding foreign actors in minor roles. Think about the change of the invading army's nationality in Red Dawn, and the relocation of a scene in the movie Looper from Paris to Shanghai at the request of a Chinese production company. And of course, certain films have faced bans and alterations due to content deemed inappropriate by Chinese authorities. For instance, Deadpool was banned for its excessive graphic violence and nudity, while Doctor Strange altered a character's background to avoid sensitive issues related to Tibet. And more recently, Keanu Reeves' movies have been pulled off streaming platforms in China over his Tibet support. There's a lot of examples. So the trend extends beyond individual films, and it now influences the overall creative landscape of movies as the willingness to comply with China just furthers. Profit-driven studios have to balance their artistic vision, if they had any left, with elements that resonate with broader audiences beyond what the story calls for. Globalization has shaped the kind of movies that are produced, and films are now strategically crafted to thrive in China's markets. And over the past decade, Chinese investments have also impacted major Hollywood productions, as many successful Hollywood movies now secure funding from Chinese sources. So what is the problem? If you haven't figured it out yet, well, it raises questions about China's power and the influence on American culture by infiltrating the mecca of entertainment, Hollywood. And as we know, especially when it comes to Hollywood, money is what drives it. It's a sad reality for film lovers and nostalgic people because Hollywood at a time was known for exporting American values through its films, and now it faces a delicate balance between catering to the Chinese market and maintaining its cultural identity, with its overall identity slowly disappearing. On top of that, China's strategic control extends beyond just investing. It also includes a quota system for foreign language films, allowing only 34 movies per year across its lucrative market. Talk about control. This restriction, coupled with financial incentives, prompts Hollywood to align with Chinese censorship authorities, because if a studio is hoping to rely on China box office and it ends up not being allowed in China, that's a problem. Chinese firms have also purchased and sold shares in major production houses, theater chains, and other related entities in Los Angeles. Many think the long-term goal is to infiltrate the top entertainment system and aim to induce cultural changes and align content with Chinese values, with Chinese authorities curating dialogues and storylines to present the country positively. With that, the censorship extends to sensitive issues like homosexuality, democratic values, and individual freedoms. Altered movie adaptations such as World War Z and Pixels totally highlight Hollywood's willingness to modify content to secure access to the Chinese market. So Hollywood's self-censorship, because of these economic interests, influences not only movie plots, but also public statements made by actors, like John Cena's public apology for referencing Taiwan as a country. The 2022 movie Top Gun: Maverick exemplifies this clash between artistic expression and economic interests. Flags from Taiwan and Japan were removed from Tom Cruise's jacket, and then after backlash from Americans, they reversed the changes and added the flags back to the jacket. But the only reason they did this was because Americans actually stood up. So look, the reality is China's strategic use of power is nuanced and complex. The long-term impact kind of remains uncertain. But once you go one way, start down a path, get spoiled and rely on the revenue from a market, it's hard to pull away from that. So Chinese elements in movies will become increasingly more prevalent, like in Transformers: Age of Extinction, Mark Wahlberg's character conveniently withdraws money from a China construction bank ATM while being in Texas. Or a character purchased Chinese protein powder at a Chicago convenience store. Some argue this is like brainwashing, but more likely just a way to add elements for the Chinese audiences. But you can see how far this slippery slope can go. It's all about shaping perceptions. And now that Hollywood is relying more and more on China to make or break a film, could get weird and very controversial, especially as Chinese films are starting to see real success in their own box office. So with this, I say that there is an opportunity for creators, filmmakers, to make movies and entertainment that may hold certain values, themes, or subject matter that wouldn't necessarily show up in the overseas markets. If Hollywood and studios are relying more and more on China and shifting their storylines to satisfy demands, then that leaves a big gap for smaller filmmakers, independent films, to rise, as they almost will be the only ones left that can create that type of entertainment that we like, the controversial type. But let me know what you think. What is the future with China and American movies, and do we need to reevaluate the direction we're headed? Leave me a comment. If you liked the video, I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. See you soon.